So this is Angela. You got that little bookmark. She's written a book about that tells her story more in depth. It's called Making Lemonade, and you can order that from the bookstore. But Angela, you're going to share just briefly with us tonight part of her testimony, and I know you are going to be blessed. God bless you. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for letting me come here and speak to these women tonight, and hopefully encourage some of you. Because a lot of us need encouragement going through a divorce, just going through pain in general. And I'm here tonight to walk you through my testimony and my pain and to show you what God has done in my life and to give you hope and inspiration. By the time I was 34 years old, my life was a complete mess. My childhood consisted of nothing but emptiness and rejection. I grew up with domestic violence from both my mother and my stepfather. But my stepfather didn't just save it for my mother, he passed on some of that to me as well. And it divided my mom and I for years. At the age of 8, I was sexually abused from a cousin. When my mom was going through the divorce with my dad, we had to live with my aunt and my 2 cousins, and he took advantage of me. But I couldn't say anything because I knew we didn't have anywhere else to go. So I kept that secret for quite a few years, in fact, until I was 34. In junior high, I was beat up and I was tormented by classmates, and my neighbors beat me up as well. And my teachers ostracized me. And the only conclusion I could make by the time I was 13 years old was that God just made me wrong. There was something wrong with me. I was defective, broken, and unlovable. All I wanted was that unconditional love, a peaceful, happy home, and the fairy tale of the prince that would bring me to a normal life. I wanted so desperately to be rescued. And when I was 19, I thought I found my prince. But despite the warnings I received from God 4.5 years later, I ended up marrying him. And during the 12th year of my marriage, the clock struck midnight and the perfect illusion I created shattered. My ex-husband confessed he was cheating on me the entire time with his first wife, and now was returning to her because she was getting divorced too. And here I was sitting in a mess of pumpkins and mice, wondering what happened to my Disney promise. Everything I put my hope and trust in was no longer there. My husband, my house, my financial security. I was emotionally devastated. I was truly alone. I had no friends to help me through my pain, and my mother was in another state in Montana and couldn't see what I was going through. I didn't even have a relationship with God at that time. And believing I didn't have a future, I decided to take my own life through starvation. I quit eating for 3 weeks. I began taking Tylenol PM during the day. I'd take it, and when I'd wake up, I'd take more because I didn't want to be awake to endure the pain that I was going through. I dropped from 120 pounds to 90 pounds in those 3 weeks, and I could feel my body dying. And one night as I lay in bed, I just gave my life to the Lord. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where I was going to go if I died. I just wanted to end my life, and it was just a plea to Him. So I took out my heart and my life, and I presented it before God and threw it on the bed. I said, I don't want to live anymore. I can't do this. I mess up everything I do in my life, and I don't want to live. My life is yours. And if you want me to live, God, then you're going to have to do something with this life because I can't. Here I was praying for death, and Jesus accepted it as a salvation. And I could hear God up there going, well, it's about time you asked me for help. Now I can actually do something with your life. And I went to bed believing that I wasn't going to wake up again, but I did. And God began to minister to me. And that very night, Jesus came to me and filled my body with life and restored me and saved my life. And then he took me to a church for counsel. And I had to put my trust, all of my trust, into someone I couldn't see, into someone I was just believing in. And I told God, I said, this situation is so unfair, and that I even doubted him. It's like, do you want this divorce to happen? Do you not see what this is going to do to me? It's going to financially ruin me, devastate me. And I asked God, do you know what you're doing? His answer was, you'll like the outcome. For the first time in my life, I actually opened a Bible. And I memorized scriptures such as Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a future. My favorite was Mark 11:24. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you will receive it and it will be yours. I remember reading these places in the Bible and pointing to God's word saying, okay, these are your promises and I'm going to stand on them. And you're really, really going to have to show me who you are, God. And he was so faithful. He showed me his promises. He kept his promises. And he wrapped his arms around me at night and he held me and loved on me. And then 2 months later, I was forced to move to a new city. And I chose Phoenix. I had never been here before. I had no friends or family. And I came here to start my life over again because it was a big city with a lot of opportunity. But the agonizing moments of being alone became overwhelming. And my new church was not a good fit for me. And one night, the pain of the loneliness became so unbearable, I decided to cut the pain out. I fainted at the sight of blood, and I don't like knives, but the pain was so intense, I just had to cut it out. And then God took me to another church where I could grow and gain strength, where I wouldn't have to do that anymore.